Art is a lie. We've been told for decades that greatness is measured in Oscars, elvish poetry, and 3-hour walks through New Zealand. But while the critics were busy sniffing their own exhaust fumes over The Return of the King, a bald man in a tank top was busy redefining the very fabric of modern cinema. Today we're doing the unthinkable. We're comparing the holy grail of fantasy to the punchline of Hollywood. And I'm going to make the case why the Fast and Furious saga isn't just better entertainment, it's a more important franchise than The Lord of the Rings. First, let's talk about the walkathon. Tolkien's world is beautiful, sure, but Lord of the Rings is essentially 12 hours of people walking towards a volcano they could have flown to in the first 20 minutes. Look, if Gandalf can summon a moth to call a giant bird, he can do it in the Shire. And don't give me the Nazgul would have seen them excuse. You're telling me Sauron, the giant flaming eyeball that literally watches the entire continent, couldn't spot 4 hobbits speed walking across Middle Earth for 6 months? Pick a lane. Now look at this. This is Fast 5. We have a prison break, a train heist, and a vault being dragged through Rio like a 20-ton wrecking ball. Fast and Furious understands the one thing Tolkien forgot: momentum. Every 10 minutes, somebody in the Fast and Furious saga either steals something, crashes something, explodes something, or recruits a former enemy into the family. Every 10 minutes in Lord of the Rings, somebody says, "The old text tells of a prophecy," and then everyone sits down. One is a lecture on linguistics, the other is a shot of pure adrenaline directly into the jugular. Critics love to moan about how Fast and Furious lost the plot. They say it used to be about street racing. Yeah, and The Hobbit used to be about a gold-obsessed dragon, not a CGI mess of a 100-year war. The difference? The Fast saga embraces its own insanity. Lord of the Rings is a closed loop. It's static. It's a museum piece. Fast and Furious is a living, breathing fever dream. It evolved from stealing DVD players, to robbing drug lords, to fighting mercenaries, to saving the world, to launching a Pontiac into orbit. That's not mission creep, that's commitment. It's the only franchise with the stones to look at the laws of physics and say, not today. Gravity watches a Fast and Furious movie the same way the audience does, with complete confusion, and eventually just gives up. When Roman and Tej went to space in a Pontiac Fiero, it wasn't a jump the shark moment. It was a declaration of war against boring cinema. It's a speculative biology at its finest, the evolution of the car from a vehicle to a spacecraft. Let's get into the physical and cultural rot of prestige cinema. Lord of the Rings is about destiny. You're born a king or you're a gardener. It's a rigid old world hierarchy. The Fast saga is built on found family. It doesn't matter where you came from, what your criminal record looks like, or if you were the villain in the previous movie. Looking at you, Deckard Shaw. If you sit at the table and say grace, you're in. In Middle Earth, everyone carries magical swords. In the Fast and Furious saga, Dom's greatest superpower is convincing yesterday's villain to come to the family barbecue. It's the most diverse, multicultural, and globally representative cast in history. Middle Earth looks like a Renaissance fair in the Midwest. The Fast saga looks like the actual world we live in. It's a cultural juggernaut that replaced the chosen one trope with the chosen family. How many times can you realistically watch Frodo and Sam spend 15 minutes deciding who's carrying the pan? How many scenes begin with somebody staring dramatically into the distance while Howard Shore reminds you you're watching art? The Fast saga is a bottomless well of entertainment. It's self-aware, it knows it's ridiculous, it invites you to the party. The Lord of the Rings demands you bow at the altar of great. One is a chore you do to feel smart. The other is a celebration of the absurdity of human existence. One wins Oscars, the other wins the hearts of millions of people who just want to see a man jump a car between 3 skyscrapers in Abu Dhabi. Lord of the Rings has one fellowship. Fast and Furious saga has a family so powerful, it recruits enemies faster than Amazon hires seasonal workers. Look, I know the comments are already a dumpster fire. How dare you compare Tolkien to the Fast and Furious? Looking at you, Vince. I'm not actually saying the Lord of the Rings is a bad franchise. It's one of the greatest trilogies ever made. But greatness and entertainment aren't always the same thing. One gave us Oscar-winning filmmaking. The other gave us a muscle car swinging across a canyon on a cable, a submarine chase on ice, a Pontiac in outer space, and somehow convinced us every single one of those moments was completely normal. Tolkien built a world. The Fast Saga built a family. And if the world ever ends, I know exactly which barbecue I'm showing up to. I'll take the Corona at a backyard barbecue over a pint of ale at the Prancing Pony any day of the week. Look, if you're a diehard Lord of the Rings fan, relax. I'm not taking your extended editions away. Go enjoy your 12 hours of walking, singing, and debating whether the Eagles should have been called sooner. But if you're like me, sometimes you don't want ancient prophecies, magical rings, and 1,000 years of lore. Sometimes you just want to watch a bald guy with a Dodge Charger somehow defeat the laws of physics using nothing but horsepower, family, and sheer confidence. So, did I just make the greatest movie argument in YouTube history? Or should I be permanently banished to Mordor? Let me know in the comments. And if there's another matchup hiding somewhere between science, mythology, and complete internet nonsense, let me know. And if you're heading to Mordor, just call Dom. Apparently he can get there in about 11 minutes. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next critique. Stay wild.